State Controller Tom DiNapoli, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be with you, Dan.
So we now have a new state budget. It's a $212 billion spending deal. There is a lot in there. It's literally packed to the gills. Let's start broad. Give me your initial reaction to the budget. It only passed on Wednesday. We're talking on Thursday, so I don't think that either of us have had the time to go through it detail by detail, but what was your initial reaction to it?
Yeah, and we're in the process now, just as you point out, of going detail by detail, because our role now, we have no input to the policy choices being made in the budget, but we do an analysis of the completed budget when it's done, and we just started that work. You know, look, from where we thought this was going to be a few months ago, you've got better economic news translates into tax revenue, more help from Washington, and clearly you have a decision made by the legislature to increase revenue as well, increase taxes and have some new programs to generate revenue, because there was a decision made across the board to do greater investments in areas like education and healthcare, relief for those struggling with the COVID pandemic. So I guess the first takeaway is what we thought was going to be a very tough budget year with difficult choices because of limited revenue turned out to be a more contentious process because we had all this money that hadn't been anticipated, right? So sometimes the budget is late because, you're debating what are you cutting, and sometimes the budget's late because you got more money than you thought you were going to have and you're debating on spending. So there's still a lot to analyze. And so the budget that's been adopted is one piece. The next, and in many ways equally important piece, is an update of the state financial plan. And that will come, probably within the next 30 days. So that's what we're really going to look at. How are we dealing with the issue of recurring spending and recurring revenue?
So as you alluded to, there are some new revenue raisers in the state budget this year. Lawmakers have opted to raise taxes on the wealthy. And in a statement after the budget was passed, you alluded to some volatility that may cause. This is something that we've done over the years, but obviously we're in a unique financial situation right now. Can you tell me what you meant by volatility, and do you think the tax hikes are a good idea?
Well, look, I respect the role of the legislature and the governor. I mean, they're elected to make the policy choice as to whether something is a good idea or a bad idea, and then, they'll stand for election. I would say this, the economy is recovering, and it is, in my opinion, it's a more fragile recovery than some people are fully appreciating. And it is way too soon to project what will be the implications of these tax increases. One of the unanswered questions right now is because of that volatility, right? Some of it volatile if the economy is bad and people aren't working or aren't making as much. Volatile also if change in tax policy results in, as some have warned, that some of the higher income New Yorkers could choose to move out of state. Many of these are folks who already have a second home. And, one of the lessons of the COVID experience is that you don't have to be in New York to get a lot of things done, right? The virtual environment and so on. So I certainly understand and appreciate a desire to have enough money to spend on the priorities that the legislature had laid out. And certainly having a progressive tax structure makes sense. But we do have to be careful and see what the trends are going to be long term. Many people are still hurting very much from the economic consequences of the pandemic. And yet there is another category of people who've done very well in spite of that. The unevenness of how people have fared through this pandemic, I think, was one of the underpinnings to the desire to change the tax structure the way that it's been changed. But, the point of your question, it's a volatile revenue source. We need to look carefully to see what will be the impact of these tax changes.
There's also a $2.1 billion excluded workers fund that was included in the budget. This money would basically be used to provide benefits for people who couldn't access unemployment during the pandemic. We're thinking of people like undocumented workers who just don't have access to that unemployment. One part of that requires your office to essentially sign off on it before it becomes active. And I think that these workers are probably wondering, well, how long is that going to take? When can I get access to this money? Do you know that yet? I know the budget literally just passed, but do you know what the process is going to be and what the timeline looks like here for that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, keep in mind, many of these workers truly were providing essential services, during the height of the pandemic. Um, you know, we had concern about being written into the language the way it was proposed. The Attorney General had similar concerns, and frankly, wasn't really sure why we were being thrown into that. That wouldn't be our role. In the end, Dan, the wording was changed in the final draft to for the control of the word may was put into the language. So we may review. So we're looking at that to see what that really means and whether or not we would have any valuable input to provide in terms of reviewing the regulations. But first blush, there's no requirement for our office to formally sign off or certify, the parameters of how this money is going to be distributed. There's more language in terms of the Attorney General, but I believe she put out a statement earlier this week indicating that there's nothing in there that in any way changes her usual responsibility. So I don't see the wording that brought us in any way interfering with the legislative intent in terms of really the Department of Labor taking the lead on putting the regulations out there and getting the money into the hands of those who are eligible.
I want to end with you on spending. And you and I have talked about the state's rainy day funds before and how we may not be putting away enough money into those rainy day funds. At the same time, this year, the state budget is increasing spending by about 9%. It's almost $20 billion over last year. And I'm wondering, from your perspective as somebody who manages the state's money, is this level of spending, if we continue this rate of spending increases, is it sustainable? And should we be putting more money into those savings?
Yeah, well, that's where we really have to see what the financial plan lays out to see the out years. It's a great question because we're spending all this money on all these different initiatives, but no additional money to the rainy day funds, to the statutory reserve funds. That's a mistake. We've been saying this, good times or bad times, you really need to be beefing up the reserves. We haven't done an adequate job of doing that at all in New York. We're behind other states in that regard. Missed opportunity, from my perspective. So, the real question about sustainability, I think, is absolutely key in terms of the state's long-term fiscal health. We have never done an adequate job of aligning recurring spending with recurring revenue. Is it sustainable long-term? Obviously the legislature and the governor are hoping and expecting that it will be, but we're going to have to take a hard look at that financial plan to get some preliminary answer to that question.
State Controller Tom DiNapoli, thank you so much for your insight.